going on, everybody, and welcome back to Bourbon of the Week. My name's Chris. I'm going to be your host for today, and today we have Evan Williams 1783, and I know what you're thinking, Chris. What about this bottle makes you think we want a review on it? Well, the thing is, it's bourbon hunting season, right? And during bourbon hunting season, you have to save your money in case you come across some bourbon. So what am I doing to save my money? I'm drinking some of these bottles that we haven't already reviewed in the cheaper price range. There's Stag 18 out there that I'm still looking for, either of the Midwinter's Night Drams, the Encore, or the 10. So this is what we've got today, but everybody knows before we get started, time for the traditional sip. Cheers, y'all. Might be worth it. So here's the deal. We've all heard that the Evan Williams single barrel is being pulled off of the shelves to be a Kentucky only release. Obviously, Evan Williams bottled and bond will still be around for a long time. And the funny thing about these two bottles is they're both the same exact price, at least here in Pennsylvania. So we want to put this through the gauntlet price, taste, drinkability to see one, how it compares to this. And two, during the Bourbon Bomb of the Week, we're going to blind all three of these to see which one's my favorite strictly on taste. But let's start out with the 1783 for right now. That was the year that Evan Williams founded the first Kentucky distillery, which is why they call this Evan Williams 1783. This is obviously Heaven Hill. It's 78% corn, 10% rye, and 12% malted barley. This is 90 proof, although it used to be 86 proof, and then they bumped it back up to 90 proof in 2021 when they gave us a new bottle and the 90 proof. So let's put this through drinkability first. Let's see how much ethanol kick this has compared to the 90 proof. Cheers, y'all. Now, I'm going to use a word here that I don't really want to use to describe this, but I'm going to use it anyway, and it's going to be rough. It's going to be rigid. And the reason that I say that is because nobody likes the word smooth in this community for whatever reason. Apparently, you can't use adjectives to describe whiskeys if people don't agree with them. I use the word smooth all the time. But for this one, it's not so much that it's not good when it comes to drinkability. It's just a little bit higher than I was expecting, especially for Heaven Hill, especially for Evan Williams, when I compare this to something like the Bottled and Bond, which I think drinks very well under its proof. And then Evan Williams also likes to work in that 86 to 90 proof range, so I thought they'd be able to factor that in when making this one right here, but we still have to give it a score. Let's take one more sip and let's give it a score. Now, I don't think this sip's crazy over its proof by any means, and I do think when I put this up against the Bottled and Bond, I'll be able to tell the difference when it comes to proof, but I don't think that's because of the ethanol kick as much as it's going to be because of the flavor profile. So for this, we're going to give this a pretty average score when it comes to drinkability, especially for a 90 proof. Let's give it like a 7.23 when it comes to drinkability. Not too bad, but at the same time, could definitely do better. And as you know, that's going to bring us into taste on this. And taste on this is a little funky for me. First of all, this bottle is 6 to 8 years old. It's not age stated on the bottle, but press release tells us it's between 6 and 8 years old. And it does say small batch, but it's less than 300 barrels, again, from the press release. The first flavor profile that I got from this is something that I haven't experienced before, which was root beer. And I don't know if that was just in my head for some reason. I don't know, maybe I saw it and subconsciously I'm thinking of root beer all night. But that's what I got on this, but more of an artificial root beer flavor. So when we were growing up, even before my time, because I feel like I would get them at the old-fashioned candy store when I was younger, which means it's an old-fashioned candy, we had these root beer barrels, and it was like an artificial root beer flavor minus all of the soda part of the root beer, any of that carbonation or anything like that. And that's kind of what I'm getting on this. Very slightly, a very small hint of that. But otherwise, it's just super sweet, which I think is another reason it reminded me of that candy. You get your vanillas, your caramels, some sweet oak on this, but not a lot of extra age on this, right? I don't get any of those leather flavor profiles. I don't get any of that extra oak flavor profiles. So for me, this is still pretty good, but at the end of the day, it's like nothing exceptional. It's pretty one-dimensional. A little bit of spiciness on the end, but pretty sweet when it comes to the flavor profile, which I normally love. But at the end of the day, I do like that balance between spicy and sweet. So for this, you know what we're going to do. One more sip. Let's figure it out. Very light when it comes to the flavor profile. Again, you do get a lot of flavors, you just don't get a lot of the flavors, and that's the best way I can describe it. It's definitely watered down. Again, Evan Williams doesn't usually put out a bunch of high proof stuff. 86.6 proof, I believe, is the single barrel, and then you have the 100 proof. So this is going to be the second highest thing that Evan Williams has, at least from what I remember. So for this, taste-wise, I'm going to give it, again, a pretty average score. I'm going to go like 8.01, just because I do think that the flavors that are there are good. You just don't get enough of them. And again, it seems watered down. It's a very short finish as well. So an 8.01 is where I'm going to put this when it comes to taste. And as you know, we're going to end things with price. And price is always important to me because you're absolutely going to reflect the whiskey that you get with the price. Now, there are some great bottles out there for some cheaper prices, and I think Evan Williams Bottled and Bond is one of them. We talk about Wild Turkey, you talk about Early Times Bottled and Bond. Shoot, last year we did Rebel 100, and that was one of the better bottles that I've tried at that price point. So for this, we're going to keep in mind price, not only when it comes to drinkability, but taste as well. And at $17.99 here in Pennsylvania, 18 bucks, I really can't think of a lot of bottles that you can buy for that price point. And again, I don't like to compare bottles in my head while I'm doing a review of a specific bottle, but obviously when you're comparing Evan Williams to Evan Williams and a 90 proof to a 100 proof and $17.99 to $17.99, we're about to do it here during the Bourbon Bomb of the Week. We've got to bring up Evan Williams Bottled and Bond, and I don't think this quite meets the threshold or the standard that the Evan Williams Bottled and Bond has. Maybe that's just because I'm a proof hound and I like the 100 proof more than the 90 proof, but I really didn't think it would have that much effect. Let's take one more sip and give this a score when it comes to price. And when I say a sip, I mean the last sip. Listen, I don't think my brother-in-law is going to mind if I actually kill this bottle tonight. It's $17.99. I can absolutely replace it for him. But I don't want you to think just because it's a cheap bottle that it deserves a great score when it comes to price on this channel. Just because the price is low, it's still got to reflect that in the juice that you're getting behind it. And again, I think the juice is average. So if this was an above average price, an above average ask, it would definitely get a lower score. But I think with an average bottle and a little bit lower price, I'm going to go a little bit above average when it comes to our price score. So let's give this like an 8.43 when it comes to price on this. But something we haven't done on this channel before, let's blind this against two other Evan Williams products, the Bottled and Bond and the Single Barrel, and see which one we like strictly off taste compared to the other two. And of course, for our blind tasting, we're going to be using our Great Whiskey Challenge tasting kit. So let's pour these up, let's label them up, and let's get going on this. I'm actually going to pour our Bottled and Bond first because this is the last of this bottle, so I want them to all be even when it comes to the pour here. Just short of our pour line. So these are completely mixed up for me. We have A, B, and C. We have A, B, and C written underneath these glasses. I don't know which order they're written under, but everybody knows before we get started, time for the traditional sip. Cheers, y'all. We'll go through one time, then we'll come back and talk about each of them. Evan Williams Bottled and Bond. This is what I thought. You can definitely tell Evan Williams Bottled and Bond just by the proof alone. Again, this is 86.6 proof. That's what I thought. I said that earlier. This is 90 proof and then the 100 proof. But the other thing about the Evan Williams Bottled and Bond that I absolutely get is way more spice, right? They're all that 10% rye, but I get way more spice on the Evan Williams Bottled and Bond. I don't know if they just don't water it down enough compared to a 90 proof or an 86.6 proof to get rid of that spicy note. But that's what I love so much about it, because you still get all of the sweetness that you're getting in this and all of the easy to drink that you're getting in this, but then you're getting a spiciness that you don't get in these other two, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, that being said, they discontinued this here in Pennsylvania. This is a Kentucky only release. So as of right now, between these two glasses, I don't know which one's which is a good thing when you're talking about a $30 bottle versus an $18 bottle, and one that you can't really get right now versus one that's readily available on your shelf. So let's try these again and see if we can pick out which one's which. Obviously, this is a single barrel, so you're going to get a different experience every time, but I'm expecting just a little bit more smoothness when it comes to the flavor profile, maybe a little bit more of those flavors, even though it's watered down 4 more points. It's still a single barrel, so you're expecting the best of the best if they're going to put that in this one right here. But let's keep going, because as of right now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pick which one's which. I even lost that root beer note that I remember getting on the 1783, and I can't find it because I definitely didn't get that when I was drinking the single barrel before. But I feel like we just got to finish these and pick which one we like better, strictly off taste. I really can't tell these two apart right now, but we're going to finish this one and see if we can pick which one we like the best. This is the Bottled and Bond. This is my favorite. This is our winner. That, again, is still a guess right now. I'm just assuming. For these, though, I'm going to go second place to our middle glass here and third place to this one here. And I think I do think that this is the single barrel, but it's a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. Let's figure it out. Let's see who's going to be the winner of this blind challenge. Actually, let's figure out our loser first. And our loser was C, which is going to be Evan Williams single barrel over here. They discontinue this Kentucky only release. Everybody flocked to the shelves here in Pennsylvania to buy this. When sitting right next to it was Evan Williams 1783, and people left it on the shelves, and it's still there for half the price compared to what you were buying this for, assuming that second place was B, which it was. Second place is B, which means our winner is still Evan Williams Bottled and Bond. And again, it just offers you so much more for the price point, especially compared to this. Both are very good when it comes to taste. It just, this gives me more of those flavors. They're more apparent, and it still gives me more of that spice compared to all sweetness that I get on the 1783. But listen, I got to be honest with you guys. When I poured this blind up, I definitely thought that Evan Williams Bottled and Bond would win, but I did not think it would be this close between the 1783 and the single barrel. I kind of thought the single barrel would just nudge it out ever so slightly over the 1783, but this is why we do blinds. Make sure you comment in the comment section below what you think would have won, came in second, and came in third. But let's get back and figure out the score for the 1783 and end this video. Cheers, y'all. So right now there's an ongoing conversation within the whiskey community about why something deserves to be a different price tag just because it's a different proof when they're doing the same exact process across the entire lineup. And the Weller lineup got brought up. You have Weller Antique 107, Weller Special Reserve, and Weller Full Proof, which is the same exact process. It's quote unquote the same exact barrels, but it's different proofs, and they're releasing them at different prices, which cause different demand. Now, for me, that's a conversation for another day, but it does pose the question, why does 1783 get to sit next to Evan Williams Bottled and Bond on the shelf when we as a community already decided at $18 this is the best bang for your buck out there? What are they trying to do with this particular release to make money? Are they just trying to get rid of barrels that they don't think deserve to be up there at the 100 proof range? It just seems like a weird thing, but it is 7.89. Again, it's not a bad spot for this bottle at all. But if you think I got it wrong, make sure you comment in the comment section below. But hey, if you've stuck around this long, make sure you click that like and that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and we won't do that without your help. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Bourbon of the Week. Go click that follow button over there. Come chat with us 24/7 in our Discord. It's an awesome Discord. We almost have 200 members. If you want to help support the channel out financially and get some bonus perks, check us out on Patreon. That link in the description below. Please don't drink and drive. Always drink responsibly and stay healthy, stay happy, stay drinking. Cheers, y'all.